I think this is going to really set the pattern up over the next couple of weeks. Another sudden stratospheric warming showing up. And when you get this happening high in the Arctic, you disrupt what's happening with the polar vortex. More on that in just a second. That is something that also is significantly, it really impacts the cold and how it pushes it down into North America. And usually in the week or two following this type of event, it gets cold across the states. However, I want to look at this. This is the new data coming in from the National Weather Service at the Climate Prediction Center. I think this pattern looks pretty good as we head into next week, right? Cold into the Northeast, into the Great Lakes, even into the Southeast, slightly below average. But look how warm it is across the West. I don't think this is going to break down. I'm in agreement here. There starts to be some slight changes maybe by day 8 to 14. I think we start to get a little warmer here in the central U.S., but you start to notice a significant change in that 3 to 4 week time frame. Some of the long-term European weeklies support this. I want to show you why. I don't know if I'd bet the farm on this just quite yet. First, we have the sudden stratospheric warming I showed you guys, but look at the new European weeklies, and I want to really detail this. If you were to look across the central and eastern U.S. with this type of setup, you'd say, that's a mild pattern. I want you to notice two things. Look at your polar vortex. Completely split here, right? So when you see that, again, these are 7-day anomalies. What you don't see is a tight polar vortex and everything spinning around it. What I see is a wavy setup here, okay? With this type of setup, not only, especially with a monster ridge across Alaska, I think this is probably going to put some moisture into British Columbia and some snow back here. But look at this trough to the northwest of Hawaii. That's a cold setup for the eastern and central United States, despite what the European weeklies are saying. And I'm telling you, I see this polar vortex being split still here as we end the month. And as we head into January, maybe it changes up, but look at this, guys. I mean, you can kind of see what's happening. It's going to be above average, I think, across the Arctic, way above average. That doesn't mean it's going to be warmer in the lower latitudes. If anything, I think it just means it's colder. You've pushed all that cold air away. And if anything, you're taking any cold that forms here and you just start to pump it south. So I do believe there is a lot of cold on the way. And we may not be done with the snow. In fact, I think over the coming weeks, watch these clipper systems. Some of you take the clipper systems and throw them out with the bathwater. Don't give up on them. I've seen some systems drop a foot of snow or more. Personally, was forecasting one night, and we've got this wild surprise storm that came in and dumped a whopping 18 inches of snow. And it looked like it was going to be 6 to 12 the day before. Not saying we're getting that out of this system, but we already have winter storm warnings in effect for a lot of Iowa. Winter weather advisories here for Des Moines, but if you go in and you look at where the warnings are, Fort Dodge, over to Waterloo, we're seeing the winter storm warnings for more than 6 inches of snow. And back into South Dakota, into Nebraska, southern parts of Minnesota, it does not include Minneapolis, not over to Madison or Chicago. If anything, I think the snow is going to taper off as this system spreads east, but we're already looking upstream at the next one, which I do believe will pack more of a punch. We're getting a punch right now, that's for sure. Some big snow falling into the northern Rockies, into Idaho, Montana, winter storm warnings here. Some of the mountains, especially here outside of Salt Lake City into the Wasatch, could see up to 2 feet of snow by the time this is all said and done. And we're getting some decent snow here into Colorado. It's always tough to get the snow here down to Grand Junction, into the valleys, but once you get up into ski country, I think we're going to have a lot of snow here over the coming days. And then into the Pacific Northwest, some big snows too starting to pick up with some heavy rain possible all along the Pacific Northwest from Portland to Seattle, and then get up into elevation and you are into some heavy snow. And again, I think there's more snow on the way here. This is snow depth as of today. Again, a little bit of snow falling across Virginia today. A lot of closings in the Richmond metro back to Roanoke. Even up towards D.C., we've seen some snow. And if you look at the snow over the upcoming couple of days, we've got this one clipper system, but look at the second one. Boom, a little stronger, a little further to the north. I'm going to let this go out. Boy, look at that. Interesting to see all of the snow showing up with these clipper systems, and the one that may come late next week could be on the strong side. Something to watch. Still pretty far out, though. Let's take this long range first, and then we'll dive into the details over the next couple of days closer in. Some heavy snow still on the table for the Northern Rockies, into the Canadian Rockies. Some of that tries to spread out onto the prairies. Most of it, though, back into the mountains, though, as we head into tonight, into Saturday. But here comes your Clipper system dropping the snow across North and South Dakota. Could be, again, a heavier band of snow setting up right across central Iowa. And then as this moves east, it will start to weaken. Some showers across Florida as our front drops to the south. And then otherwise, light snow moving into the Great Lakes region as we head into Saturday. There will be some snow in and around Chicago, South Bend, over to Lansing, over to Detroit, London, Windsor, up to Toronto. A little bit of light snow here. Don't expect anything crazy. Cleveland, Erie, Rochester, Syracuse. All of these cities are going to see a little bit of light snow as we head into Saturday, into Sunday, as well as this moves to the east as we wrap up the weekend. High pressure, and this is a cold Arctic air mass, friends, setting up across the upper Midwest. It is going to be cold again. This is a true polar air mass, guys. It's not messing around. And let me tell you something. It has been a really cold start to December. All right, and it's going to stay that way. And remember, for those of you going, winter's already a bust, it's not even winter officially yet. So there's more to come, all right? So ease up, everybody. Just take a chill pill. Some of you freaking out. It never snows along the coast of New Jersey. No, it doesn't snow there very often anyway, but I think there's a chance, again, more cold on the way. Maybe not right now, but let's watch January. All right, that's another video, another time. High pressure building in, cold across the Great Lakes. Here comes another Clipper system heading into Monday. Another system slamming into British Columbia and into the Pacific Northwest. Heavy snow into the mountains. This is going to drop some decent snow, too, across Wisconsin, parts of Ontario. That is the second Clipper system. A parade of Clippers moving in. Here's the third, maybe? I mean, there's just so many. I kind of lose count. This was going to bring another round of snow into the Great Lakes region. Let me tell you something. Northern Michigan and the UP, boy, we've just been inundated with snow. And then big snow is going to be falling. We're going to be measuring this in feet by the time it's said and done. Someone said in the channel, were you talking like 50 feet of snow? Come on. No. I think it's going to fall a couple of feet at a time. But over the coming weeks, there could be several feet falling across British Columbia, especially into the coastal ranges. This is where it gets interesting. I think as we head into Thursday, look how warm it starts to get further to the north, all right? That does two things. Number one, I think it adds a little juice to this next Clipper, okay? Second, there's going to be a pretty tight gradient between the warm and the cold here. And to me, that could amplify a strong, heavier band of snow. Now, we are looking at something 1 week from today, diving in from the northwest. I want to show you the GFS in just a second, which I might just throw it away. But check it out. Put some more heavy snow down into Kentucky, southern Indiana, maybe into Virginia again. So watch this one. D.C., Maryland. Does it curve? Does it make the curve up the coast? Not with this type of setup. You'd want a different look here. You'd want your trough to go more like this versus being so progressive. But keep an eye on it. And then look, more Clipper systems, more Arctic air building into the northern plains and the upper Midwest. We're pretty far out in time here, but this is a pretty cold setup, and there may be a bit of a rebound as we head toward the middle of the month, maybe up around the 20th, especially as we get toward the 20th. I think that's a time frame we may see things flip a little bit, maybe give you a chance to get some rain and snow down into the Four Corner states where we've not seen much this winter. That is super long range, but here's the GFS just for some comparison. 1 Clipper, 2, 3, 4, and I'm looking at the fourth one here. Look, it doesn't dive as far south as the European. More to come. A long way to go on that. Here's where the snow is going to fall tonight into Saturday through Sunday. I'm going to back this up and show you the timeline. There it comes on Saturday afternoon through the Dakotas into Iowa. Again, some areas, these are touch numbers from the National Weather Service, could get over 6 inches, especially here into central Iowa where we do have those winter storm warnings. That pushes east. So by the time you wake up Sunday morning, some light snow accumulation already in and around Chicago. Some of that pushing into Michigan too. Lower amounts though. Anything over blue is more than 2 inches. But I want to back this up. Some of this snow is already fallen though by the time we get this next system moving in. So don't get too excited. It doesn't look like a lot, but we just keep packing on the snow inch after inch here, and not a lot is melting with the temperatures that we're seeing. A quick look out west, some heavy snow, again, several feet possible into the mountains here, into Idaho, into Montana, also down into Wyoming. I think we're going to get some heavy snow into the mountains. You're going to have to get pretty high up, but still decent snow in the mountains down towards Salt Lake City. Not expecting a lot of snow at the valley floor level, but get up into the mountains, up towards the ski resorts, definitely some snow, and the same could be said out here into Colorado. But the four corner states, other than Utah and Colorado, you get down into New Mexico and also Arizona, not much precipitation on the way. And here's a quick look. I do want to show you the European, lining up pretty close with what the forecast is showing here with that heavy band of snow across central Iowa. It's interesting to see, though, that it's trying to put a little bit of a heavier band back into parts of southern South Dakota. And then look at this, guys. Let's push this out in time. There comes that second system, the third one. And by the time you get to the end of the week, the European is trying to put down a lot of snow. And again, an interesting amplification thing happening here. The last run of the European, this would be last night's run. Some of that is stacking on the snow that we picked up last night, but still, it's something is there. Not a huge drastic difference here in the way the models look. And then further to the west, again, big snow across the Pacific Northwest into the Cascades, really far into the Pacific Northwest, but up into British Columbia, the Canadian Rockies, down to the northern Rockies of the U.S., heavy snow on the way. There it is, a closer look. We'll track this closer now day by day, and we'll look at some of the temperatures too, which again are going to be really cold east of the Rockies. There's that heavy snow moving down into the mountains, so expect it to pick up here into the Colorado Rockies. And then as we get into Saturday night into Sunday, some of this starts to weaken, a bit of a break out ahead of the next system, which will move in as we move into Sunday evening. Some of the snow tries to get east of the mountains here onto the prairies, but again, not a lot. Most of it getting wrung out in the mountains, but this clipper system here may bring some snow into Saskatchewan. I don't know how far north it gets into Manitoba, but then it dives southeast. And then look how warm it starts to get, right? Your ridge really starts to build north. Out ahead of that next clipper system, you've got warm temperatures and warm enough for rain across eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota, with maybe some ice with that overrunning moisture and that shallow layer of cold air at the surface. Pretty wild to see that. There's a look at your temperatures heading into Saturday. This is where the real Arctic area is. It's building east. You can kind of see how your flow is this way. You're really locking that cold up into Canada. We will break some more of that off heading into next week, though, and start to move it south and east. Further to the east, here comes the snow that we're seeing as we head into Saturday. We've talked a lot about that, but further to the south, dry, relatively warm across Texas, Oklahoma. Some rain showers start to pick up around Houston, down toward Baton Rouge, down along the Gulf Coast states. Maybe a little bit of light snow, too, as we head into Monday. Watch this weak trough as it swings through here into the Ohio Valley. There could be some snow mixing with the rain over toward Louisville, maybe even Cincinnati, and then that moves east. Here comes that next clipper system. That's going to put some snow here into the Arrowhead of Minnesota, the UP of Michigan, northern Wisconsin. That slides into lower Michigan. Not as much snow here. I think the one that's coming on Wednesday will bring more snow a little bit further to the south into the lower part of Michigan. And then warm enough. Check this out. Depending on how this tracks, we could actually see enough southwest flow to see some rain up to southern parts of Wisconsin with a bit of a different look here. And then it turns cold and blasts in behind this, and the lake effect, look at that, kicks back up. And again, here comes the system that I really want to watch. And I did this setup again. This was the type of setup I remember. I think it was 2017, maybe. I was forecasting on TV, and I think it was the weekend, and I don't remember what was going on, but I went home for the weekend, and all of a sudden we had this Northwest Flow event like this, and it just ramped up very similar to this. And bang, you just dumped, foot and a half of snow in a very large axis here from northwest to southeast. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying do not think that these clipper systems are always just going to be benign and not do anything. Not always. Sometimes they can surprise you. True Arctic air. Look at these temperatures, well below zero as we head into Sunday morning across the upper Midwest. That moves towards Wisconsin. Monday morning is going to be really cold across Wisconsin. You folks are tough. You can handle it, but it's going to be cold. I'm just telling you. And that cold digs all the way down into the south. Temperatures, look at this, highs in the lower 30s down into Tennessee, into Kentucky. Overnight lows in the 20s. We will start to rebound here as we head now into Wednesday and Thursday. Let's go east. We'll start in close here because there is going to be a little bit of residual moisture hanging into eastern Pennsylvania, around the D.C. region. Enough of a shallow, almost a bit of an inversion, some warmer air aloft with some really cold air at the surface, and that could create some freezing drizzle, maybe a few light snow showers here if we can see enough lift here, but it's not going to be a big deal. Most of your moisture moving offshore. And then as we widen this out and kind of take a look at the larger scale features, again, some showers across the deep south from South Carolina along the Florida-Georgia line back into the Gulf Coast And then as we head into now Saturday evening, the lake effect starts to pick up again into Sunday. That will continue out ahead of our Clipper system. This will shut down some, but the light snow starts to pick up across southern Ontario, western New York, into the northeast. Some snow, though, heading into Monday. I think you watch this, too, on the northern side. There could be a little bit of snow here into the Appalachians, down into North Carolina. Do we get snow down to Winston-Salem and Greensboro? I don't think so. This just looks weird to me, but watch it. Definitely cold into the northeast. All along the I-90 corridor, more snow. Here in Michigan, we're getting just clobbered with snow, and there's more snow on the way, and there's more snow on the way. Who's sick of it? You may be completely done with the snow in this part of the world for sure. There's that bit of a warm-up out ahead of that next system, and we're going to get crushed, I think, with some snow here into the northeast with several inches as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, and then the lake effect turns on again behind that, and now we're watching this next system from Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, northern Kentucky, down into the Virginias again. Does this one make the curve up the northeast coast? I don't think so at this point. Maybe we shop. We just watch it for now. Here's a look at your temperatures. Turning cold again across the upper Midwest. Not nearly as cold, though, east of this area. Once we get into, though, I think Sunday, that really chilly air starts to build in here to Ohio, Indiana. Overnight lows in the single digits. Highs barely getting into the teens. And then some real Arctic air tries to push back into the northeast, too, as we head into Monday, especially Tuesday morning, lows well below zero. Anytime you see these whites and grays, that's below 0 Fahrenheit temperatures. A little bit warmer as we head into Tuesday. Man, it's been a cold start to December. Very cold. Warmer across the south and also the mid-south as we head into Wednesday. And then, look, guys, another blast of cold following these clippers, and we push that down into the Ohio Valley again, into parts of the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. A cold start to December. And this right here may be more cold to come. I'll keep you updated. If you made it this far, thank you for subscribing. If you've not, maybe you should consider it. I hope you would. It would help the channel. I do appreciate it so much. All of those, if you're an OG, you've been here for a while, thanks a lot. See you next time.